if you put yourself in the shoes of cynical patient, well, learn more about what? I don't want to learn more. I want to feel better. So I don't want to educate myself. I want my knee pain to go away or whatever it is. So you should build that context right into that button.
Hey there, welcome to the Dr. Marketing Tips Show. I'm Jennifer.
Now I'm Corey.
And Corey, I want you to imagine you're driving home after a stressful week, which I know is kind of funny, tongue in cheek, because we're virtual. But imagine you were out shopping all day long with Sarah and meals, and Sarah had you go into Walmart, then you had to go to Target, then you had to go to the grocery store. And all you can think about is, I got to get home because I'm tired of sitting in the car all day. And you drive by, two gyms, right? On the left, you've got, a gym with a big banner on it. And on the right, you've got a gym with the big banner. Are you following what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think so. Okay.
All right. So the gym on the left says sign up for your free membership today. And the gym on the right says take back your energy, start your free 3-day pass. So I know you're all stressed out because you've been at the, store all day long. Which gym are you going to go to?
I'm going to go with the one on the right because that one is talking about how I'm feeling. It's not just about taking my money. It's saying you want this stuff back. We can help you achieve that. So definitely that one.
So exactly. And the thing is, in healthcare, we do this all the time without realizing it. We put giant buttons on our website and those say like submit form or schedule an appointment. And we do that before we've even made any time to make sure the patient feels understood. So it's kind of like the equivalent of the gym on the left, which is demanding a credit card before you've even gone in and seen the weights. So today, let's on this episode, let's flip the script and help give you the 5 rules to write high converting healthcare calls to action. Took me a while to get there, but that's the point of this episode is how can we make those minor improvements on our websites to actually get people to click to make those appointments?
Yeah, that's something that we talk about all the time. And it's interesting because as you, as we are talking to, a lot of our clients, we have to balance multiple different things. So there's obviously some psychology behind this. Some people think that just slapping any old call to action or CTA, we call it in the biz, on a page will boost some rankings. But that's kind of a myth, honestly. Google doesn't just give you a gold star for writing book now. They don't really care. What we're actually trying to do is connect with the audience while balancing whatever the practice wants. So there's kind of a unique push and pull there.
Well, that's correct, but there is a but there is this like hidden SEO benefit. Like when you have a compelling, clear CTA, which is called call to action, patients click through and explore your site more. So in the SEO world, these are called long clicks. So it sends a big signal to the search engine that you're providing positive user experience, which is supposed to boost your organic rankings over time.
Yeah, and that's something that we pay attention to. That's basically time on page. We want people to actually click through to do a thing. And then once they're there, read or watch a video or whatever, because that is a strong signal that, okay, so person clicked a button and then they sat on that page for 2.5 minutes. Great. Instead of clicking the button and then leaving 6 seconds later, that sends obviously the wrong signal that says, oh, they didn't actually get what they wanted or they were in the wrong place or, whatever the case may be. But the push and pull kind of comes in where we say, do we want to focus on the reader or the potential patient and ditch this kind of transactional vibe? So a phrase like buy now or submit, it feels very squirmy. It's weird because we're asking them to do something, but we're not actually kind of meeting them where they are and wherever their healthcare journey is. So this transactional sort of CTA sometimes feels a little bit cold. And the balance is, well, we obviously we don't want it to feel cold, but we also want to make it very clear what's on the other side of that button. So if you say book now, you would think the other side of that is the opportunity to book. And so like I said, it is kind of like a push and a pull.
Yeah, and I think it's really just like minor language tweaks. Like instead of subscribe to our newsletter, you might try, get health news and tips. And instead of like read instructions. You might say, prepare for your first visit. But it's just keeping the end user in mind when you're writing out the CTAs and creating the buttons. Is it's not as intuitive always as the person developing the site. Sometimes you need to put yourself in the seat of the patient so that you are seeing it through their lens.
Yeah, and I was actually just having this discussion with a client the other day where we were talking through updating kind of the main slider on their website, because that's, the most valuable piece of real estate that we have, because the website, I'm sorry, the homepage winds up generating the most amount of traffic. So the most amount of eyeballs every month go and they look right there. So we want to take full advantage of that. And we were actually talking about what that call to action is. Is it book now? Is it schedule? Is it prepare for your visit, or what to expect? And we were going back and forth again, just trying to balance all of these things that we're talking about. And we landed on, let's test. And I think that that's a really good takeaway when you're struggling with language. It's always worthwhile, I think, if you're building out ads or landing pages or whatever, to just say, well, let's do a version A and a version B and make them different enough that we can actually get some real data here. Because if you keep them the same and you say book now versus schedule now, you're probably going to have an even split. But if one is yellow and one is orange and they say something, one says prepare for your first visit and one says book, you can actually start to glean sort of what the audience that visits your website specifically is looking to do and make some adjustments from there. So the other thing to keep in mind as you're doing this is just make sure that you're being explicit kind of about the next step. You don't want surprises. If a button says learn more, for an example, it shouldn't open up to some, off-site third party EHR booking software that you can't really configure. It doesn't even look like your practice. If a button says find a doctor, it shouldn't dump the patient on a location page. Just things like that. Like, you just want that experience to kind of connect.
Yeah, it should just be literal. Like, book an appointment should go directly to the scheduling page. There's no mystery, no friction there. It just gets you to where you're supposed to go, which is often a conversation that I have with clients. Is rather than say like schedule an appointment and it takes you to the portal page where you can schedule, I think it should say like, click to go to the portal, and it should tell you you're exiting. Like, we just need to keep that in mind, which kind of leads us to like the next rule, if you will. But you got to eliminate those vague, lazy phrases like learn more, sign up, or view more. And I can think of 20 sites that we manage that have, the phrase view more or learn more on it. And these are things that, as we're going through and refining our CTA strategy this year, that we need to be taking a look at, because those lazy phrases aren't exactly what we need in the end.
Right. Because if you put yourself in the shoes of cynical patient, well, learn more about what? I don't want to learn more. I want to feel better. So I don't want to educate myself. I want my knee pain to go away or whatever it is. So you should build that context right into that button. So discover more about knee care or knee treatment, or view more patient stories or whatever it is, because again, that kind of removes that friction layer, and doesn't use the learn piece of it, which is something that's always been a pet peeve of mine.
Totally is. And let's not forget about, respecting the screen space, because we're invading kind of their space, even if they came to find us. That's because almost three-quarters, if not more, of all your patients are finding your website on their smartphone. So buttons can only be so large before they're going to break the design. So you need to keep it short and punchy. Get directions, pay your bill, call to schedule, things like that.
Yeah, because it's funny you say that, because like, you could, if you wanted to reach the patient and eliminate the mystery, you could say, click here to book your appointment. Note that you're going to go to our third party scheduler and you're going to be leaving the website. Clearly that's a bad button, but it does remove piece of it. So it's a balance, obviously, because you do want to be clear, but you don't want to break the design. And you also have to remember that people are using devices in different ways. Something that I was actually just talking about the web dev team the other day was, there's a new type of device that is going to, within the next couple of years, be really prevalent. There's really two that are coming out. So there's wearables, where people are going to start to be able to visit sites And I think we're a couple of ways, or a couple of years away from that happening. But that is something to keep on the radar. And then there's also these folding devices. So Apple's getting ready to release a folding iPhone, I believe, later this year. And so that's going to be a screen that's bigger than a phone, smaller than a tablet. So as we're designing things, again, we need to keep in mind that the interaction is always kind of changing. So the button length, the contrast, the colors, all of these things, need to be considered as we're building out new things to, again, meet patients where they are.
The funny thing is we just did an episode, I don't know if it'll be before or after this one, just talking about like almost 70% of people aren't clicking through to your website. And so you got to become the answer for the answer engine. But now, today we're talking about, how important the website is and the little nuances of the website and making sure
Well,
that our CTAs are in the right place and all the new devices and things. Like the website is super important. It's just not the most important thing right now.
Well, and you got to think about it too. So 70% of people, it's called the zero click. Maybe they're not going to your website, but those people that do get to your website, they still need to have this good experience, because otherwise they're going to leave. They're going to go somewhere else, because if they go through all the hassle of leaving the AI overview, which is really just an extra button click, but yeah, they go through all that work, that blood, sweat, and tears of leaving that AI overview to get to your website, and then they have a bad experience once they get to your site, you can be damn sure that they're just going to go somewhere else.
Just one click, go to the next thing, one voice
Yeah.
search, and you're done. So today, if you have a chance, go back, take a look at your website, look at your CTAs, find out, how can you make them a little more direct and make it easier on the end user. That'd be a great use of your time. Spend 20 minutes clicking through on your website and find some things that you can update. Let your web hosting company, whoever manages it for you, go in there and make those updates. And I think you'll see it pay dividends. So with that, I'm Jennifer.
I'm Corey.
We'll see you next time on the Dr. Marketing Tips Show. Thanks a bunch. Adios.
More like this, hit like and subscribe so you'll always be alerted to new episodes when they come out. And if you want information about us, visit us over at insightmg.com. That's insightmg.com. We'll see you on the next episode.